Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited today because this is going to be a special video, at least for me. I'm going to talk about an amazing person, really, a famous polyglot and a special person, well, in my life. She has always inspired me to learn languages. She's one of the reasons I started learning Russian also. And anyway, that's enough for the introduction. Let me give you a hint, okay? Yes, you're correct. It's Kató Lomb, or Lombkoto in Hungarian. And the quote comes from her. Language is the only thing worth knowing, even poorly. And I like this quote very much. Right? It's obvious. It's been always up there on my YouTube channel since I started. Now, who was Lumpkoto? She was a famous Hungarian interpreter, translator. She was one of the first simultaneous interpreters in the world. And what's fascinating about her story, about her life, is that she studied physics and chemistry at university. And she only became interested in languages at a later age. I think she was 30, 31, 32 years old. As far as I remember, and it's written in her book, which I recommend. I encourage you to read. You will find the link in the description below. It's called How I Learned Languages. Now, she learned Russian, her first foreign language, in Budapest in the middle of the Second World War. It was in like 41, 42, when she took up Russian as a hobby, as a first language. And the way she started the whole journey, you know, of her starting learning Russian, it's already really nice, really fascinating. The books are readable, really well written, and it will be an inspiration, motivation to anyone who's about to take up a new language, or who are just basic. I know they're lost and they are struggling learning foreign languages. So they're really inspiring books. Now, I have to look this up because I'm not quite sure how many languages she spoke. As she put it, altogether she earned money with 16 languages, guys. Bulgarian, Chinese, Danish, English, French, German, Hebrew, Italian, Japanese, Latin, Polish, Romanian, Russian, Slovak, Spanish, Ukrainian. Wow. and what's really nice, what's really, motivating about this and amazing is that she learned all of these languages on her own, like self-effort all the way. Never had a private teacher, tutor, anyone, you know. It was just her and her dictionaries, books, and, you know. Now, why is this video special today? Because I found an interview with her from 1974, and I'm going to show some clips from this video. You can watch the full video. I will put a link in the description below that leads to the original uploader's YouTube page, and there you can see the whole the full 60 minutes. I won't be showing all of them, but a few parts that I find really interesting and worth mentioning to you guys. I will react to her opinion, to what she says about language learning, and you will see that there will be some crossroads where, and also parts where I have a different opinion. And yeah, just stay tuned, guys. Okay, so here we go. Let me show you. I think I want to start the interview from somewhere here, around here, and let me take my face out of the screen. So here we go.
Hát pénzügyi gondokkal küzdöttünk. Én gyerekkoromban nyelvet nem tanultam, az egy franciát kivéve, amit tehát olyan polgáriskolai síkon megszereztem magamnak, persze a latinnal együtt, ami kötelező volt ebben az időben. Fölnőtt fejjel kezdtem el tanulni, és én ezt azért szeretem hangsúlyozni, hogy biztatásul meghallják azok is, akiket visszatart a tanulástól az, hogy ó, Istenem, én már x éves vagyok. Ez az x, ez már 30-nál szokott kezdődni. Borzasztóan haragszom erre az előítéletre. 3 olyan előítélet van, amiben a könyvemben is, ami ellen a könyvemben is igyekeztem küzdeni. Az egyik az, hogy csak gyerekfejjel, vagy legalábbis nagyon fiatal fejjel lehet nyelvet tanulni. A másik az, hogy nyelvtehetség kell ahhoz, hogy az ember egy nyelvben bizonyos szintig elvergődjön. A harmadik pedig az, hogy a külföldön való tartózkodás a módszer, amivel az ember egy nyelvismeretét elsajátíthatja.
Hát haragszik erre a 3 előítéletre, akkor legyen olyan aranyos, és mondja el röviden az ellenérveit. Tehát az első előítélet az, hogy csak fiatal fejjel, csak a fiatal agy fogékony a nyelv.
Ez a legelterjedtebb, és erre haragszom talán éppen azért a legjobban. Nézze, a tudást én szeretem két részre osztani, az egyik a készség, a másik az ismeret. Ez nagyon szépen kijön például az idegen nyelvekben, ahol külön van a fertigkeit vagy skill a készségre, aminek semmi köze a kenntnishez vagy connaissance-hoz, az ismerethez. Na most a készséget tényleg gyerekfejjel lehet jobban elsajátítani. Hát senki se vitatja azt, hogy biciklizni jobban megtanul a 6 éves, mint a 60 éves. Viszont van a másik része az ismeret, aminek az elsajátítására az érett fő sokkal alkalmasabb, mint a gyerekfő. A mi szakmánkban ezt a készséget a kiejtés jelenti, ezt az automatikus képességet arra, hogy valamilyen teljesítményt elérjen. Hát a kiejtésnél nem vitás az, hogy az elfogulatlan agy, az előítéletmentes agy sikert ér el, sokkal jobbat, mint a fölnőtt. Millió példa bizonyítja, hogy az anyanyelvi szintű kiejtést egy bizonyos koron túl nem lehet elsajátítani.
Önnek milyen a kiejtése a különböző legjobban tudod?
Sajnos közepes. Meg kell vallanom, ebben azért az előbbiek elmondottak alapján fölnőtt fejjel kezdtem a nyelvtanuláshoz. Azt szoktuk mondani, hogy addigra az artikulációs bázis már elmesszesedett, tehát ez elég szűk keresztmetszete az én képességeimnek. Na most hadd térjek.
Now obviously there's a lot to take in, a lot to digest. I don't want to go that much into the details, but I really found it fascinating. At least I want to mention a few things, to react to a few things she said. When she talked about skill and knowledge, connaissance, right? They're two different things. And she put it really nicely, that pronunciation, in order to have a good pronunciation in a language, you either have it or you don't. So anyone can learn a language up to, basically to any level. Anyone can learn a language. But to have a good pronunciation, not anyone can do it. And I never thought about this before. I always told anyone, my friends who asked me, I was getting this question that, you cannot learn a language when you're grown up, when you're adult. You cannot learn only in your childhood, or you must have talent. And I told anyone, no, that's not true. Anyone can learn a language regardless of your age and so on. And she says the same thing. She's the living example of someone who learned languages in her 30s, okay? And now, going back to pronunciation, I never thought about this, that pronunciation has to do something with skill, something that cannot be learned. I don't know how to react to this, because I have friends who have they know more words in English or German or in other languages. They know perfect grammar, but what they are lacking is pronunciation. And they're asking me, but hey Robert, how come that you have such a good pronunciation in English? I don't know if I indeed have a good pronunciation. But many times I keep getting this feedback that my pronunciation is good. And I don't know, maybe is it because I have talent? Is it because I really don't know. Now she really made me think, and I don't know how to react to this, because she said that her pronunciation, she knows 16 languages, and I'm pretty sure, and the fact that she earned money working with these languages, translating back and forth between these languages, I am no one compared to her, right? But she says that her pronunciation is mediocre. It's very average. And in this aspect, I really do think that I'm better. But why? And I don't know that. Was it something, maybe because I started learning languages when I was like 12, 13, 14? But I remember back then that my English wasn't that good, I struggled with pronunciation for many years. Now she started learning English, I don't know when, maybe it was in her 30s, 40s, but she doesn't have a good accent. And I remember reading in her book that she took up Russian in the middle of the Second World War, and she was walking on the street, and she saw, in the store there was a Russian, Hungarian, or Hungarian-Russian dictionary, and she bought it because she was fascinated by the Russian alphabet. Okay, it was such a whimsical decision, you know, and this is what I like about her book and how she wrote all of these things down. What did I want to say? I forgot. This should be a podcast, guys. Sorry for. What did I want to say? I forgot. But I can just stop right here and say that let me know what you think. I'm really curious what you think, and leave a comment below the video, please, because also I don't know how to react to this. Does it have really to do with the fact that I started learning languages in my childhood, basically in my teenage years, and she started learning in her 30s, 40s, that her pronunciation never got so good? Yes, I remember what I wanted to say, that she was learning Russian in the middle of the Second World War. It took like 3-4 years she was learning it, and when the war ended, she had to, you know, she got her first job as an interpreter, as a translator, and she had to translate from Russian into Hungarian and vice versa. And she says in her book that her pronunciation was awful. Okay, she learned languages, you know, from a dictionary. She learned Russian from a dictionary. Obviously, she didn't have that much input, you know, listening to the language on a daily basis. So maybe that's why. And here, yeah, this is a good point, and you can write your opinion, your opinions in the comment. That I think that back then in the 20th century there wasn't, and obviously this was the case, there weren't so many resources, you know, regarding, you know, if you wanted to learn a new language, you couldn't just go in the store and buy an audiobook in Russian, right? It wasn't possible. And the fact that she wasn't exposed to the language, to audiobooks, etc., podcasts, TV shows, and so on, I think maybe this was the reason that she never got so good pronunciation-wise, because she was an expert in translating, being a polyglot, learning languages quickly. She was an expert in that, but pronunciation was always a problem for her. So why? Was it because she started learning languages in her adulthood, or was it because she didn't get exposed to that much, you know, to Russian and the other languages, you know? So what do you think? But you can also argue that, you know, if she worked as a translator, as a interpreter, then she almost always used, you know, her Russian, Spanish, German, and French skills. You know, she was in the booth, you know, simultaneously interpreting what she was hearing. So she was exposed to the language, but still, she says her pronunciation wasn't that good. So here's a question for you guys. Please write me what you think in the comment section. And now let's continue with the video, okay?
Aztán szintén egyik a fő ellenségeimnek.
3 előítéletet mondott, ugye? Az egyik az, hogy csak külföldön, a másik az, hogy
igen, a nyelvtehetség problémája, na hát ez aztán szintén egyik a fő ellenségeimnek. Tulajdonképpen a könyvem megírásánál pontosan ez vezetett, hogy ezzel ellen harcoljak, ez a ködös és misztifikált nyelvtehetség, ez visszatartott egy csomó embert a nyelvtanulástól, és mind ilyen, hát teljes haragomat érdemelte ki. A nyelvtehetség az legalábbis egy komplex valami. Idejövet éppen eszembe jutott egy nagyon neves magyar műfordító, sajnos elvesztettük, azt hiszem 15 évvel ezelőtt, a Gáspár Endre, talán hallottam már a nevét biztosan. Csodálatos tehetséggel fordított Lorcát és Beranger-t, Heinet és Shelley-t, csodálatosan, tényleg az eredetivel teljesen azonos művészi szinten. Beszélte is az összes nyelveket, valamennyit egyformán beszélte. Olyan értelemben, hogy sose lehetett tudni, hogy melyiket beszéli. Szörnyű kiejtése.
Arany Jánosról mondják, hogy iszonyatos kiejtéssel beszélt, ha egyáltalán megszólalt angol, pedig Shakespeare-t jobban fordítani.
A különbség az, hogy ő nem igen hagyta el Nagyszalontát, viszont Gáspár Endre, mint emigráns, politikai emigráns bejárta az egész világot, tehát alkalma lett volna elsajátítani a jó kiejtést. Nagyon rossz volt a kiejtéssel, nem tudom, hogy ezek után minek nevezem. Nyelvanti talentumnak, ha a kritériumnak azt veszem, hogy anyanyelvi szintű legyen a kiejtés, akkor azt kell mondanom. Ha azt, hogy hogyan tolmácsolta az eredetivel azonos művészi szinten, akkor azt kell mondanom, hogy nyelvzseni volt.
Now, what do I think? How can I react to this? This is I have to tell you guys honestly. I was expecting her to say things that I'm more familiar with. I never really actually thought about pronunciation as something that you can only master if you have innate talent. Okay, so yeah, that's a fact. I think that the myth is it's not a myth anymore, and anyone can agree on the fact that you can learn languages as a grown up as well. Children don't necessarily learn languages better or more easily, faster. It's just what she said very well, that they may have, or what I'm saying, that they have much better pronunciation than adults who start learning languages, right? Because in order to have good pronunciation, you have to have talent. And I never thought about this. I never really thought about this, but it makes sense, and she makes some really good points here. So yeah, I don't know how to react this.
2 hours later.
So please let me know what you think in the comment section. Okay, I'm really curious. I had to put myself here in the corner because I saw that this is what most people who react to videos do. So I thought it would be more authentic.
Tehát nincs nyelvtehetség, külön ilyenfajta tehetség.
Szorgalom van, motiváció van, kitartás van, és kiművelt emberfő van, ami teljesen elengedhetetlen, akkor is az ember történetesen művészettörténetet vagy biológiát tanul.
Erre a motivációra majd még visszatérnék, ha megenged.
It's so easy, man. I mean, it's really so easy to say and lazy, to say that I cannot learn a new language because I don't have talent. And if I don't have talent, then hey, I'm interested in learning Spanish, but I don't have talent, so it would take me years. That's so stupid. That's really so stupid, because she says it really well. You need diligence, perseverance, consistency. And when you see all these other polyglots on YouTube showing off in the streets and then speaking 20, 30 languages, that's bullshit. They maybe memorize a few phrases, how to say hello, hi, how are you, my name is this and that, and that's it, but they can hold a decent conversation maybe in 2 or 3 languages. So that's totally different. Anyway, let's put it aside. But yeah, that's the truth. You have to have consistency, diligence, otherwise yeah. Don't come with that bullshit that you need talent. That's already old-fashioned, that's outdated. Let that, leave that thing.
Sőt, már is rá is térek. Mi motiválta abban, hogy mi késztette arra, hogy 1941-ben, és a dátum itt nem mellékes, éppen az orosz nyelvet választotta?
Most én szívesen mondanám azt, hogy ideológiai fejlettség és politikai előrelátás, de hazudnék, hogyha ezt mondanám. Az majdnem azt mutatnám, hogy egy véletlen, leírtam a könyvembe, egy körúti antikváriumban rábukkantam egy nagyon régi, azt hiszem 1880-ból való orosz-angol szótárra, és úgy megjegytett a varázsa ennek a számomra idegen ABC-nek, hogy hazarohantam vele, és elkezdtem tanulmányozni. Nagyon sokat olvastam az orosz irodalomról, fordításban. Az volt az érzésem, hogy aki pszichológiai kérdések iránt igazán érdeklődik, az Dosztojevszki, Tolsztoj, Gogoly, Csehov nélkül tájékozatlan marad. Nekiveselkedtem. Egyedül nem kell mondanom, hogy akkor az ember nem igen tanult tanárral a fasizálódó Magyarországba, és hát teljes kompenzációt kaptam véletlenül, mert a felszabadulás heteiben jóformán az egyetlen ember voltam, vicces módon, aki orosz írógépen írni tudott, cirilbetűs írógépen, ez volt a fő attrakció bennem.
I will jump ahead in the video a bit because I want you to watch the original video. So I will jump ahead and show you some other clips.
Ösztönzésnek, hogy az ember nem oszt, nem szoroz. Ugye engem nagyon gyakran fölhív valaki, egy ismeretlen hang, és azt mondja, hogy tessék mondani, elvtársnő, érdemes megtanulni, tudom én, spanyolul vagy kínaiul, mire mindig azt mondom, hogy magának nem, fiam. Erre a sértődött hang visszakérdezi, hogy Miért tetszik ezt mondani, hiszen nem is tetszik engem ismerni. Mondtam, aki így teszi fel a kérdést, annak kár elindulni ezen az úton. Ez nem lett ilyen ridegen, hogy kiszámítja, hogy ez az x forint, amit remél, be fog-e futni a tudás alapján, akit maga a folyamat nem lelkesít. És az én üzenetem mindenkihez az, hogy nyelvet tanulni olyan jó, hogy önmagáért érdemes csinálni. Szóval aki ezt nem érzi, annak kár elindulni, ha csak arra veti a szemét, hogy ez mennyire lesz rentábilis.
Hát én...
This was very funny, and this is so true. So many people, and even I have, if I reflect on my past actions and decisions, I must say that I was one of these persons, who would call her up, and ask, hey, if I learn Chinese or Russian, like, will it pay off in the future? This is such a bad way to put it, to start a language. This is the only reason. No, you have to, if you really want to be good in the language, you have to have that motivation, that drivenness, you have to know why, or even if it doesn't matter, you don't have to know why you're learning the language. It's just you want to learn it. You're motivated to learn it, and you're not learning just because you need it for your job. Or of course, you can also learn a language if it's it serves other purposes and you're learning it for other reasons. But it's never the same. The process won't be that enjoyable. Think of it. If you had like compulsory, you had literature, mandatory literature you had to read in school. You rather read Harry Potter or I don't know other fantasy, Lord of the Rings, or science fiction books rather than reading the literature that was required in school. Just because something that is forced upon you, most of the time, almost always doesn't trigger that kind of enjoyment and in the process of doing it, learning it. So yeah, it makes sense. I don't know where to put my face on the screen. Maybe I should just cut it out, but I want to make this be authentic. The fact if I put it in the bottom corner, then it will overlap with the subtitles.
Azt hiszem,
mi az öröm a tanulás folyamatában?
A tanulás folyamatában az az öröm, hogy a program megszerkesztésében sosem a homo sapiens, a bölcs embert kell a szemünk előtt tartani, úgyse nagyon hiszek ebbe a szapienciába, ebbe a bölcsességben.
Sok az ellentmondó adat.
Igen. Hanem a homo ludens, a játszani szerető embert. Az emberek rendkívül szeretnek játszani, szellemi játékot is szívesen üznek, különböző fizikai játékokat, sportokat is szívesen üznek.
Hogy játszak egy nyelvtanulással?
Úgy, mint ahogy az ember a fülest forgatja és megoldja a rejtvényeit, akkor érdekes egy nyelv tanulása, és akkor nem fárad bele, akkor tudja órákon át csinálni, ha kielégíti ezt a bizonyos játékvágyat az emberekbe, hogyha ezt egy megfejtendő keresztrejtvénynek tekinti. Rendkívül nagy sikerélményt nyújt az, hogyha összeáll a kép, épp úgy, mint ahogy egy keresztrejtvényben az vízszintes, és szabad egy példával elmondanom.
Persze.
Nem akartam túlmenni a 16 nyelven, és nagyon megesküdtem magamnak, hogy nem fogok többet tanulni.
Yeah, this is something familiar. I also say in one of my videos that I won't be learning new languages. Anyway, you can continue watching this part, but what I want to just take out from what she said is that really you have to make it an enjoyable process. Okay. You have to have fun in the meantime. So the way she did this was she thought of it as a puzzle, the new syntax, the language, the new words. It was challenging, but it was fun at the same time. She was the one who deciphered the grammar of that language without looking up the rules in a grammar book. How fascinating is that? I mean, I'm very fascinated by syntax of a language. I usually start a new language, or I started because I won't be learning new languages in the future, who knows. But I always bought a grammar book, and it's easier, we just have the rules there and everything, I never thought about this, that, to take a book just like that, read it, to start to read a book in a different language without any help. I mean, you have the dictionary, of course, but deciphering the grammar and putting the dots together, it's really it's nice. And imagine she did this when there were really few resources in 20th century, and now people are you know, complaining, oh, I don't have talent, I don't know how to learn a new language, you know. And there's so many resources on the internet, and they're not using them wisely. And she only had a dictionary, and with that she basically deciphered the whole language. How fascinating is that? I think it was in her book she mentions that she learned Japanese. It was a very nice story, but what was it like? I think she was from technical books. Basically, she learned Japanese, okay, from technical books, right? Which is it blew my mind when I read that. You know, it just goes to show how motivated she was, how much enjoyment and happiness she found in the process. Okay, let's go to maybe I will show you one or two more clips, and then it's Schluss.
És ezért hangsúlyozom annyira az olvasásnak a jelentőségét. Én nem mondom, hogy olvasva a legjobb hatásfokkal lehet a nyelvet megtanulni. Ez nem abszurdum volna, hiszen tudjuk a pavlovi tanok értelmében, hogy a több irányú ösztönzés, a több pont megmozgatása vezet a legjobb eredményhez. Na most az olvasás az csak a vizualitásra, csak a látott szövegre koncentrálódik. Hiányzik belőle az az érzelmi ösztönzés, ami például egy személyes találkozást, amit egy személyes találkozást jelent, egy baráttal való beszélgetés. Tehát egy egyoldalú és egy rosszabb hatásfokú dolog, de rendkívül hozzáférhető. Nagyon egyszerű és olcsó eszközökkel megteremthető. Én nem hiszem el senkinek, hogy olyan rettenetesen elfoglalt, hogy ne tudjon olvasásra rászánni 1-2 órát naponta. És ez aztán időben is olyan jól beilleszthető, mindig közlekedés közben, reggelizés közben, vacsorázás közben.
So yeah, she put it very nicely. Reading is a very, very good way to learn a new language, and she also obviously mentions like having conversations with people, and yeah, personally I prefer grammar. Always when I take up a new language, when I learn a new language, depending on the language, if it's very different from the ones I already know, then I start with the grammar. I decipher the grammar using grammar books. And pay attention here, I'm going to give a very good piece of advice, that just by learning from a grammar book, you basically build a basic vocabulary. You know already by the time you finish that book, you will know at least 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 words. And after I finished the grammar book, I started having conversation with people, and only later I started reading, and only later I use reading as means of improving my language skills. But she was the opposite example, that she started right away with reading, and that's also a good way. It's just, the most important to have motivation, right? Motivation, that's the key. And if you don't have motivation, another good piece of advice, you have to find reasons why you're learning the language. Basically just write down on a piece of paper the reasons why you want to learn that language. You're not motivated, but motivation will come soon enough. You just have to visualize the goal. Why do you want to learn the language, okay? So keep this in mind. Let's see, do I want to show... I think that I'm going to read something, some interesting facts about her. Yes, so one interesting fact is like she attributed her success to massive amounts of comprehensible input, mostly through recreational reading, what she mentioned also in the interview. She was personally very interested in grammar and linguistics, but felt that they played a small role in language acquisition, loved dictionaries, but looked up words when she read only if the word reappeared several times and she still did not understand it, and hated to be corrected. Error correction makes you sick to your stomach. This is what she said. This is a, yeah, I mean, you saw it in the video as well. She's a very likable person, down to earth. Yeah. Okay, and another thing I thought that it's worth mentioning. Where is it? Yes, in her book, Harmony of Babel is Hungarian. And this is, by the way, you also find this in the description below. How many languages do I speak? So to this question, she said, I have only one mother tongue, Hungarian. I speak Russian, German, English, and French well enough to be able to interpret or translate between any of them extemporaneously. What is that word? I don't even know. I have to prepare a bit for Spanish, Italian, Japanese, Chinese, and Polish. At such times, I leaf through the parts of my diaries written in these languages. I can read Swedish, Norwegian, Romanian, Portuguese, Dutch, Bulgarian, and Czech literature. I can translate their written, political, or technical texts. And also another thing, this is what I wanted to show you. I only have one mother tongue, Hungarian. Russian, English, French, and German live inside me simultaneously with Hungarian. I can switch between any of these languages with great ease from one word to the next. Translating text in Italian, Spanish, Japanese, Chinese, and Polish generally requires me to spend about half a day brushing up my language skills and perusing the materials to be translated. This is what she says in her book, How I Learned Languages, which you can also find in the link in the link below the video in the description. Yeah. Okay. This is a very, very long video, and I'm sorry for that, but I hope that you can extract some useful parts from it. I think it became it got so long because I went with the flow. And I hope you find it useful. I hope I could help, or I could shed some light to some aspects of language learning. But I really encourage you to watch the full video with her. It's really worth it, and hope to see you guys next time. Take care and learn languages. Bye bye.